Well, good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon, Vivek. Here we are again to have another chat, and this time we're chatting on Thursday afternoon, aren't we, rather than Friday afternoon. And the reason is I'm teaching an Excel course tomorrow all day, so I wouldn't be back in time, so we're just doing it a day early. But you've got a special visitor, I believe, and I think it's also a good afternoon from him with the time difference, Mr. David Leopold, or Small Biz David, so a big welcome to you. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's actually the first time I've been invited into a UK HOA. How exciting is that?
Yeah, that's great. Good. Anyway, so what we're going to do is, I think, Vivek, you have the agenda up so people can see. But I think probably the blue box is on me at the moment, isn't it? So we're going to do, it's a special hangout on air again, and we're going to do just a minute, and then we're going to do the Let's Meet, and it's very similar to what we did last week when we had Scott Scowcroft on, who I believe is watching us, so hi to Scott again. And just a chance, I mean, I don't know David at all, and David doesn't know me, so it'll be a chance for us to get to know one another as well, which would be good. And obviously Vivek can say a little bit more, or we can say some things about you. Nice or nasty, depending on how we're feeling. No, we'll be nice to you. And then we have a trick or treat that we're going to talk about. So we're going to start with a just a minute. So Vivek, if you could give us your just a minute and tell us a bit about who you are.
Okay, I'm taking the blue box. Namaste. My name is Vivek, and Vivek Technology Integrators is my company. I believe in living a simple life. I believe in thinking differently. I'm proud to share my beliefs with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. So, information technology keeps changing every day. I mean, if it doesn't change, then it's going to die. So, change or die. So, since that's the situation,
danger. Those are the options.
Yes, since technology keeps changing and you need to adapt, it gets confusing for people. Then, when you find things confusing, make sure that you're not taken for a ride by the cowboys. Let the Indian handle the technology, and you live a simple life, because my aim is to simplify things for you. So,
Vivek, you rock.
So that's my just a minute. If you want to contact me, various ways, website, my Google Plus ID, or even hashtag integrate simplify life. So that's my just a minute. Over to you, Corinna.
Okay, am I blue boxed yet?
Yes, you
have the technology. That's good. Well, hello, people may or may not know who I am, depending whether they've seen me before. So I'm Corinna Shepherd, and I'm creative, Dancing Kite's Creative Learning, which actually covers all kinds of areas, but it's around the area of creative learning. Do people know how to learn, how to think? Often people don't really understand, and how we learn and how we think can affect absolutely everything in our lives. It could be to do with our personal development, how we interact with friends, colleagues, partners, spouses, business-related issues. If people are dyslexic, which is one of my specialisms, then that's a whole big area as well, because people who are dyslexic often really need to learn in a particular way. And what I've learned is actually by helping people identify their learning style, how they learn best, and what their strengths and what indeed their weaknesses are, then any training, coaching, interactions and so on, any business dealings, you know, communication and so on, are more effective if you can actually play to their strengths as well as their weaknesses. So, for example, if somebody is not an auditory learner and you just talk at them for half an hour, they're not going to get it. And I'm like that. I'm not an auditory, well, I wasn't. I'm learning through my singing. I'm learning to be more of an auditory learner as it happens, which is another story. But if somebody was presenting a new topic to me and talking to me for half an hour just in an auditory way, I wouldn't get it. And I'm not stupid, but I could feel stupid. And so that can impact all kinds of areas in business. In fact, I'm going to talk about later in my trick or treat. So everything I do does come out of a passion to help people, enable them, and out of my experience of actually working with people who are dyslexic. And often people who are dyslexic have tremendous strengths. It's better helping to play to their strengths. So there's all kinds of areas. To learn more, best look at my website, which is www.dancingkites.co.uk. Also, my Google ID is up on the top of my banner, and my contact details will be in the description as usual for the YouTube description. So that's us two finished. Now, David, would you like to do a just a minute, or would you like to be grilled by Vivek first? What would you like to do? You're welcome to do an introduction.
I can't speak for just a minute. I don't know how to do just a minute.
Okay.
No, I say that sarcastically. Today, I teach an exercise class, and a new individual came into my class today. And at the end of the class, I like to say, how'd you like the exercise? Try to engage, try to find out a little bit about them. So the individual asked me, well, what is it that you do? And I explained to him. I thought I was being very simple because I am a very simple person like Vivek.
And me.
And and you. And I gave I gave an explanation of what I do, and another friend of mine, student of mine, turns to me and he said, well, that wasn't a very good 60-second elevator speech, David. You should know better than that. So of course, that made me laugh or
yes.
made me cry. I don't know what it is. But very quickly, I very much engaged in producing Hangouts on Air. I produce actually 3 different brands. Started with Dreaming with Entrepreneurs, which is a brand I actually developed years ago, but have moved it over to HOAs. Matter of fact, Vivek is one of my 50 entrepreneurs in my entrepreneurs directory, and hopefully Corinna will be one of my featured entrepreneurs also.
Love to.
And then another brand that I do started about 5 weeks ago, and I'm working with a technology, creative technology expert. He lives in the Canary Islands, but he's from Wales. He's from Yorkshire. He and I produce an HOA. He's the producer, as I like to say. I'm just the talent and the host of it, and we do that on Sunday evenings. The title is Start Building Your Business. Between the two of us, we've created some products and services that businesses can have to take them to the next level or to actually start a business.
Wow.
And then last week, I started a third brand called Baby Boomers Living the Entrepreneurial Dream.
Okay.
It's something I've really wanted to do for a long time, and I finally did it. And I actually have a co-host, a woman by the name of Sandra Watson, and we're very excited about how it is moving. Some folks that saw it last week and where it's going to go. So I love doing these things. That's all I do, or HOAs. So that's not too difficult to explain. And I'm actually working on a 4th branded concept for an HOA. And not at liberty to discuss it yet because it's just in the brainstorming process right now. So that's what I do. But I love to be grilled. So Vivek, grill away if you'd like, or Corinna, grill away. I love to be challenged.
Well, you're here, so obviously we love to sort of spotlight a bit on what you're doing, and it's good for me to get to know you a bit, but also part of doing HOAs, isn't it, is to raise publicity, isn't it, and for other people to watch. So yes. I can't think of a question at the moment, particularly. Vivek, did you have anything specific? Why
don't I read a comment from Scott Scowcroft, who was your guest last week? Scott's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
We met in an HOA, and we, as Vivek, we're on a weekly panel, an HOA panel, Tuesdays at noon. We've been doing it for almost a year now. or over a year now, but Scott says, enjoyable hearing and seeing three friends engaging in great conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Good stuff, isn't it? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely need to learn more about the power and the potential of Google Hangouts on air, and I do feel that's a way forward for me, and certainly in terms of all my training and development and support and so on. So the baby boomers one, what's the point of that? I mean, obviously it's nice to get people to talk, but is it to help them in their businesses, or to connect them, to get community, or what's the point of what you're doing there, David?
Actually, all of the above and more.
Okay.
Baby boomers have created a very interesting dynamic in the United States for sure, and I'm not quite sure how it plays in other countries around the world, but for sure the United States. Baby boomers represent very close to a third of the population of the United States. And so that's a major demographic. It's the largest single demographic of individuals.
Yes.
And baby boomers are in a strange place right now. If they have had businesses, well, first of all, baby boomers is defined as one being born between the years of 1946 and 1964.
Okay.
That's the definition. So
Yes.
this year, 2014 is there's a 50-year-old baby boomer for the first time. Okay, so that's kind of neat. What's happening this year? First 50-year-old.
Okay. Yes.
And baby boomers, they've either had successful businesses that allow them to start to wind down maybe as they're getting older. They've had a job in their life. And they've had that job for anywhere from 25 to 40 years, by definition.
Yes.
We have lots of experiences. So we come upon this point where people talk about retirement. And fortunately, I've never been one about thinking about retirement because
it's not my vocabulary.
I'm having too much fun doing what I'm doing now. So why would I? Retire means you're tired. Retired is really what it means.
Exactly.
And so, but there are a lot of baby boomers who do not have the income level that we thought we were going to have when we started doing this thing 40 years ago or however long ago it was. And so recognizing that, I have created a business concept, a business idea that very simply a baby boomer, be they a business owner or someone who has worked for a business owner, can generate additional monthly cash flow. It doesn't have to be the grandiose thing of starting a business, but if you're generating cash flow, that's what businesses do. So it's just another. It's a way to help the situation, and so that's the way it's been developing, and we're actually going to make a major announcement, Sandra and I, tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for anybody that wants to come and watch. But it's an exciting thing, and obviously I am a baby boomer. I've been a baby boomer since the third year of baby boomerism, and so I share the pain. I share all those concerns that we have.
Yes.
So that's where we are on that.
That's really interesting, because a lot of what I do is about my own personal journey. I'm in the age bracket, more towards the end of it, I have to say, but still in that. And a
woman's not supposed to tell her age, is she?
No, but a lot of it is about the sort of second half of life, and there's authors I read about this or whatever, and it's actually about really find out who you really are and what your authentic and what your passion is. And some people can do that at age of 20, but often it's the ego and everything else. And as you get older and various things happen, it's often at that stage that people start to think about, well, actually, why are they here? What do they want? What they're really good at? And that's very much part of my passion, to help people find that. And also, if that involves, a business, which in sort of later years, obviously, as you say, there's plenty of people in that position to help them go after their passion and actually attract money through doing that. So that's very much in line with all the stuff that I'm after. So it'd be really interesting, maybe somehow connecting with some of these people, having the conversation.
Well, we're going to build in a very, very exciting network of folks, and sharing what our concerns are as baby boomers. Not just, I mean, the focus is business and
Yes.
generating additional cash flow.
Yes.
And that's kind of where we want to go with it. But,
Absolutely.
and the thing that people don't understand, and this is going to be part of our task in educating folks, if you've worked for somebody for 25, 30, 40 years, you are an expert in whatever it is that you have done in all those years. So now's an opportunity for you to monetize. We're all looking how to monetize our expertise, our knowledge, our intellectual property, and here's an opportunity for folks to do it. Just share the experiences that they've had for the last 25 years. And it's interesting, somehow when people describe entrepreneurs, and you did it, we all have, it seems like the letter P, we all pick words to describe entrepreneurship with the letter P, and inevitably the first P that everybody has, regardless of what the other ones are, is passion.
Yeah.
And if you've done something for 25 years, hopefully you're passionate about it. One would hope that you are.
Absolutely, but actually what I've found, and I think it's the case with a lot of people maybe in the UK, it might be different to the States, is that people have been doing something that they haven't been passionate about, and then they discover it later in life. I mean, there's author Roald Dahl, who I don't know whether he's famous over in the States or not, the children's author. And we have, I live in a place called Prestwood, which is near Great Missenden. And in Great Missenden, there's a museum, the Roald Dahl Museum, very interactive or whatever. And on the wall, there's this diagram, it's like a timeline, but it's in a circle, about what he did and all the stuff he was involved in. And from like his early 40s onwards, he was writing screenplays, and then he wrote more books. I think he did that up to the day he died. I don't know how old he was when he died, and as he went on, his 40s and his 50s and beyond, he's becoming more and more creative. And all the stuff I'm doing now, okay, a lot of it I was doing earlier in terms of IT training, but the dyslexia is new to me. All my my singing, it's all stuff that I'm developing now. It's part of me, but I'm actually taking time to tune into who I really am and actually bring that, hopefully, to inspire other people and then help them to do the same. So, I think this is a fascinating conversation. I'd like to talk more about this, and I'd certainly be interested to perhaps share what I'm doing to connect with some of these people if you felt that was appropriate. I think that would be fun.
Well, we are building a community, and it will grow. Every week it'll grow. There's no question about it.
If I can somehow be part of that, then that would be lovely. So, would that be?
Well, it can start at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Which is 7:30 in the UK. You're probably ready for evening tea or tea and breakfast by that time. I don't know what you do at 7:30.
Well, I'm probably having a sleep in front of the TV because I've been training in Excel all day. I'm going to come back. But certainly, if you could tell me details afterwards about that would be lovely. Yeah, that'd be great.
There will be obviously, as you well know, when we're done with the HOA, it automatically becomes a YouTube. So that is always available, and I take things one step further, as Vivek will tell you.
Yes.
That once it's out there, I also create a landing page.
Okay.
So that video becomes central on your own landing page. It's another service that I offer for folks who take their time to share their expertise with our audience, and that landing page can generate cash flow. I've got landing pages that generate cash flow for me, so there's no reason why you can't take your intellectual property or whatever your passion is and do the same thing for you using the technology and marketing skills that we share.
Yes, well,
pretty simple.
Fascinating, yes. I mean, Vivek, I think you were saying, weren't you, about how you feeling, obviously we've been doing this video log for a few months now, and we're not aware of other people who are doing the same sort of thing always regularly, and this whole thing about Hangouts on air and how we can do it in a way that in the UK people don't seem to be doing yet, do they? So we sort of, that's where trailing the blaze, or blazing the trail, whatever the word is.
Well, actually, I have a friend in the UK that his name is James Dearsley. I know Vivek knows him. but he has started to do HOAs, and the very first one. You remember the first one that he did, Vivek? It was with the case study that Toyota is doing as an HOA.
Oh.
That was his very, and wow, what a way to start an HOA with a case study like that.
Yes, yes. So Vivek, is there anything? I think it's been fascinating. I'm sure there's more we could talk about, but obviously tons moving on. So Vivek, is there anything else? Or obviously you know David. Anything that you particularly like to mention to obviously help promote what he does and share with the people who are viewing? Or do you think we've covered? We've covered a lot of really interesting stuff. So
well, I want to turn it a little bit. Vivek and I have had a lot of one-on-one discussions, and I sent him an article yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm sure knowing Vivek the way I know Vivek, I'm sure he read it right away. But Vivek is a master of Google Analytics.
Yes.
And I want him to take his knowledge of Google Analytics and create some kind of product or service and put it on the landing page that I've created for him, and then we market it and try to drive traffic to that landing page.
Excellent.
Vivek, are we going to get that thing done? Are we going to get it done, Vivek?
Go for it.
Yes, we are going to do it. Yes.
Well, as that article clearly stated, people, and I'm guilty of it too. I do not use Google Analytics like I should be using them. And what a perfect way to educate people about Google Analytics than Hangouts. I mean, it's Google. It's part of the analytics.
Really useful. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
But fire away with your questions, Vivek. Fire away at me.
Perhaps just spend another couple of minutes on this, and then obviously, if David wants to ask me a few things, and there's anything else to say about you, and just time's moving on. But I think we've covered quite a lot. But was there a question or whatever, or should we move on?
Yeah, I have. I think one question which came to my mind when you were explaining what you do, David, was in the past 40 odd years, that I think 44 or something you were mentioning, you have been creating businesses and running businesses and so on. What's the major change you have seen in terms of not the technology? I'm asking in terms of people's attitude, how they see things. Do you think there is a change in people, or is it still the same?
Great question, and here's my answer to that question. First of all, I will take issue with you because I think the major thing that has changed, in fact, is technology. The way that I did things 40 years ago, absolutely not the way that I do things today.
No, but
things are done much more.
But my point is, technology. Yes, technology changes, and you probably would be able to achieve more things. But my point is, unless you use the technology effectively and for the right things, technology is just technology. I mean, it's like you have a very sharp knife. What can you do with it? You can do lots of things with it, good things, bad things. So, I mean, people's attitude. That's what was my question.
That's my point precisely. That the fundamentals of business have not changed. Marketing in and of itself has not changed. I mean, I built my first community, and communities are a wonderful way to market. I built my first community 40 years ago because I saw that it was a way for people of like interests, like concerns, to get together and share their challenges, whatever was going on with their businesses. I will tell you, there is a major thing that I'm seeing today. And I started to see it about 5 years ago, really started to see it about 5 years ago, is... Am I supposed to be reading Scott Scowcroft's comment?
No, no. You go on. I'll bring that up later.
I started talking about it about 5 years ago. The big business model, at least in the United States, started failing miserably about 5 years ago, just roughly 5 years ago. Car manufacturers, they were losing money head over heels. Insurance companies, banks started making bad loans, bad mortgages. The big business model was failing. So everything, as always, they looked to small business to fix the problems. Small business was called upon. Well, the American taxpayer bailed out big business, gave them large loans for low interest rates to allow them to refigure themselves, reconstruct themselves. But what was happening then with small businesses was that we were going to come back, but there are a lot of folks, instead of necessarily trying to build big businesses, we would collaborate with one another. So you as a technician have technical skills. I, as a marketing and salesperson, have marketing and sales skills. I have to believe that Corinna has probably strong operational kinds of skills. So why don't we get together? Why don't we collaborate? Instead of trying to individually build these big businesses, work to help each other grow our business, and then together we create a force that we can take out to the marketplace and offer, new knowledge, new expertise with that combined knowledge. So there's a lot of solopreneurs, and this plays into the baby boomer thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of solopreneurs, people who are one-person operations.
Yes.
I recognize a long time ago in my business that I had a company that for 1 year I had 15 people in that company, and we accomplished our business objective, but I did not enjoy the business experience. I was spending too much time doing things that were not beneficial to the growth and development of the business.
Yes.
And so I made the personal decision 1979, 1978, over 30 years ago, that whatever I was going to do for the rest of my life, I was going to pretty much do it by myself. And if I came across a task that I couldn't do, I would find somebody like Vivek who could do that task for me more efficiently.
Yes.
Better, because his expertise was in that area. So we're seeing a rebirth of that model.
Yes.
Google Plus and Hangouts on Air are making it happen. I mean, I have started to develop business relationships from folks I've met in this kind of environment.
Brilliant.
And so that's a new small business paradigm that's happening. So Vivek, that the mindset, the spirit of collaboration is major shift in thinking from the old days. But back to what I said, we still have to understand how to use technology, because technology is the tool that we use to communicate with folks, to find those folks. You still can pick up a telephone and call somebody that you would like to do business with. That option is still available. But how many people use that option today?
Yes.
It's amazing how many people don't use that option today. I've had a period of my life where literally 75-80% of my time was spent on a telephone.
Yes.
I don't even own a telephone now. I have a phone, but it's a really dumb phone. Nowhere near being a smartphone. It's a dumb phone. But I use the internet. I use Hangouts. I mean, if you and I can talk to one another, and we get more out of that experience than if we try to talk on a telephone.
Yes.
We see each other. We see each other's pain.
Yes.
We roll our eyes. I see you rolling your eyes if you want to roll your eyes. But it's a much better way to do business.
And I certainly find that because part of what I do is coaching, and my coach has encouraged me into doing the coaching, which is, I thought I was more of a trainer at the time, but I seem to be doing coaching, which is great. So I don't care what you call it; it's still about enabling people. And so I've got used to the idea of doing stuff on Skype. I've been using. I have to say, I know it's, you said what Skype? I think you said last week, didn't you? And I go to a lot of, at the moment, there's business networking meetings, and then if I go some distance, I then don't want to drive all that way, to meet up for coffee and to discuss, and so I'll say, well, let's have a Skype or Google Hangout. I do talk about that well, and quite often I just get a reticence. They don't want to do it. Oh no, I would rather meet up or talk on the telephone, Whereas obviously, with the community that you're involved with, both of you, there's people who are very much more into Google Hangouts on air and just doing that. And I'm enjoying it. I did a hangout on air this morning with Chris Ogle from Link for Growth that Vivek and I both know, and he was doing a soundbite about me. Well, soundbite, it's about 20 minutes, and he was asking me questions about all the different things I'm doing. I'm hoping to sort of put some links up about that later on. Very nice. He's very positive, very encouraging, and I was able to obviously talk about his Link for Growth a bit too. And it was just a lovely way of doing it. So yes, I don't know whether the British are behind in this about they're not as willing to do it, but certainly something that both Vivek and I want to encourage. But time's moving on now. I think we could carry on chatting, but I think we better move on.
Yeah.
And probably worth doing the trick or treat actually, because viewers. I don't mind sort of passing on, what I do, and obviously you two know. Unless David, you had just a quick question. We were chatting in the green room, weren't we? So you know a bit about what I'm doing. So I'm just conscious of the time.
I'm just bringing up this comment that Scott
Lovely.
made.
Good.
He was. He's referring to, I think, what David was saying. David was talking about Google Analytics, and Scott is saying not only analytics, but so he's saying,
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
He gave you a pretty good plug in there too, Vivek.
Yeah. No, that's great. It's good when somebody else does it, isn't it? Because again, the British. Well, I know Vivek, you're Indian, but the Britishness in us or in the culture, we don't really want to brag about ourselves and say how fantastic we are. But if other people say it, that's brilliant. It's lovely. It's so lovely to get a testimonial, isn't it? I think we ought to move on timing-wise, Vivek. So that's okay with everybody. Do you want to do your trick or treat next, and then I've got something lined up, and then we can sort of wrap up for today, and that would be great. So
okay. I need to show you something on my screen. This is actually a question which Corinna, you asked me I think last week.
Okay.
This is about people invite you for different HOAs that are happening, and they're not inviting you to be part of the panel, but they invite you to watch it.
Yes.
Say, for example. And it happens to be at a different time than that's convenient for you. And when that happens, most people tend to miss it entirely. So my point is actually, when such an invite comes, you can say, yes, I would like to watch it. Click on the yes or maybe button. And when you do that, an entry goes into your calendar. So let me screen share my calendar and show you what I mean.
Maybe he's going to your calendar too.
Yeah, you are seeing my calendar now, and see here, because the other one is actually, I think it's a share of this event. So this is when someone sends you an event, and then it says yes, maybe, or no. If you say yes or maybe, then entry gets created in your calendar, and you open your calendar, you go to that event and then click that, because it's showing up as a link. Click that, it will show this. An event will appear like that. If you click on that button, it will start playing. Let me, as an example, let me go to an entirely different event. Say yesterday. So this is an event which I got an invite saying this is Christine de Graaf and Mia.
David F Leopold went.
Yes,
I saw that.
And if I click on that, it will show me the event page for that. It's actually loading. And if I click on that, I would be able to watch that event later on. So the easiest way not to miss an event is to say either yes or maybe. If you click on no, then nothing happens.
Good.
So that's my trick for today. So it's
That's a good one. I learned something. Thank you very much, Vivek.
Great. So
okay, Corinna,
now.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to do a bit of an introduction, and then I sent you a PowerPoint. In the end, you were going to play it, weren't you, this time round? But with the volume switched off. So I just want to explain to viewers what I've done, and then a little bit what it's about, and then we'll take it through. And then I'm doing the voiceover afresh because, well, basically what I've done is I've produced a PowerPoint, and it's a PowerPoint about dyslexia support that I offer. And it's a way of actually, I've been talking to some networking groups and a lot of people about the fact that the law, and certainly in the UK, there's the Equality Act 2010, says that your business needs to be dyslexic friendly. And if it's not, that you could actually be breaking the law, inadvertently of course. And this would cover access to goods and services, which is what the previous law, the Disability Discrimination Act, covered, but also employment. So if you're a small business and you don't employ anybody, you're still looking, as we've discussed with David, about access to goods and services, the marketing, how we're trying to talk to people increasingly on the internet. Well, how dyslexic friendly is it? You know, in terms of the design, the use of the words and the pictures, is it addressing everybody's learning styles? And we all have learning styles, and it doesn't mean we're all dyslexic, but actually working in a dyslexic friendly way helps address all the learning styles. It means that actually it works, it potentially can improve what you do for everybody. So this is an example of the medium that I'm using, which obviously I can help other people with, like the Google Hangouts, and there is another dyslexic friendly way of talking to people and having the marketing. So Vivek's kind of offered to display the screen. I'll tell him when to do the next slide. So I'll just do the introduction, talk a little bit over it. It's maybe slightly different to the recorded one, but anyway, this is the technology apparently needed it because the voiceover didn't come out loud enough in this. So it starts with the title, which is Dyslexia Workplace Support. Improves and enhances your work practices for everyone by creative learning. So that's very much just an introduction to what Dancing Kites can do for you. So if we can have the next slide, please, Vivek. Okay, so dyslexia is actually a hidden disability. I'm sure it's the same in America as well as over here. And it is, in law, it is told as, it is defined as a disability. There are people with dyslexia are actually very creative and gifted, and may not think of it as a disability, but it certainly is a difference. But as far as the law is concerned, they call it disability. So why should I bother? How many does it affect, you may ask? Well, a very conservative statistic is it affects at least 1 in 10 of the population. And look at the UK, obviously in America it'll be even more. That's around 5 million adults. But actually that's a very conservative figure, and it's likely to be more 15 to 20%. And actually if you think about dyslexia is about a different type of learning style, in effect we can all be impacted and perhaps all have an aspect of it, so potentially it can impact nearly all of us. But even 1 in 10 is quite a lot of people. So it means if, oh, I don't know anyone who's dyslexic, well, you probably do. And it may be, if you employ people, it could be one of your employees, might be, and they may not have not wanted to divulge the fact they're dyslexic. It could be with clients and potential clients. So, you will come into contact with people who are dyslexic. People who are watching my video, or this video now, will be dyslexic. And hopefully with the words and the pictures and the voiceover and everything, it is a much better way of them communicating with them. Okay, so the next slide, please, Vivek. So dyslexic-friendly work practices. So why we need to look at this? It's a legal requirement, certainly in the UK. I'm sure it is in America as well. Be interested to know about the law there. Maybe I can add it to my homework, David. You've already given me some, haven't you? So I can add that to my homework when we do the follow-up hangout on there, which you promised. So it's definitely a legal requirement. It is about best practice, as I said. The number of PowerPoint presentations I sit through in meetings, which actually just, loads of words, too many words, not enough pictures, too much auditory stuff, will work for some people, but not for everybody. So everyone can learn from this, really. Dyslexia-friendly work practice is also about user-friendly for all, as I've touched on. Okay, next, please. Okay, so how can you recognise dyslexia at work? Well, this is some of the ways that we offer through Dancing Kites, and obviously there are other organisations around, so you can look those up, etc. But just to explain what I'm doing, what I'm passionate about doing to help people. Awareness seminars at your workplace, so you can come in for say 2 or 3 hours and actually go through some of these issues. So how to recognise dyslexia in colleagues, employees, employers, clients, and potential clients. Compliance issues to do with the law, and how to make reasonable adjustment, which actually might be quite fun and quite small and not cost a lot. I do have videos again on my YouTube channel and on my website, because I've done short talks about this topic and getting people to experience dyslexia. I was doing one yesterday. So if people want to look at the video about that, then they can go and look at that as well to get more of a sense. So it's very much not just loads of words thrown at you, talked at you for ages. It's about getting you to feel what it's like to be dyslexic and actually impact you, and then to think about, okay, who am I in touch with and how might they be affected? It's a very effective, creative learning way of doing it, of course. So next, please. So we might have dyslexic employees. Help! Somebody might cry out. So what can we do to help someone who potentially might be dyslexic, or just they're not sure about their learning style and not sure why some things are just really tough and other things they find really easy? Well, one way would be to do, we've got individual confidential assessments. So one way is the information processing skills, and that's going through how people process things visually, how they process sounds, and a little bit about handwriting, but not too much. So it's the 3 main areas where people generally are affected by dyslexia. And then typically, even doing an assessment like that, which is about an hour, I pick up a lot of other stuff, because I'm used to working with people. I recognise stuff. I can bring out other questions and so on, and start to think about how to help them excel in their workplace and maybe outside of work. Another type of assessment that I do is a work-specific skills and processes, and I've done that where I've actually then looked at how the person works, the sort of things they have to do. There's a lot of form filling, a lot of filing, or stuff that they really don't relate to. But again, a creative learning way is actually bringing in the use of colours, for example. Dyslexic works every time, and actually probably works for some of the rest of us. You can more colourful in your business. It's fun and engaging, and it can just be more memorable. Next, please. So the consultancy on your work practices. So okay, so you've done the assessment and you realise, oh yeah, okay, this might be an issue in my organisation. Maybe you've had an assessment yourself. Maybe it's got you thinking, oh, actually, my learning style's a bit, I don't always get it. Maybe I need an assessment. You've had an assessment and you've come up with stuff. Okay, what can we do about it now? Well, I can offer consultancy, or just general consultancy about how to make things more user-friendly, dyslexic-friendly. And this can be told at business owners. So if you're a business owner of a large or small business, that's fine. It doesn't, not limited to the size of company. For employers and employees, and also dealing with clients is another area, as we talked about in the sales and marketing. Is it dyslexic friendly, or does it just leave people cold? So next, please. So these are some of the areas, and I'm actually producing another PowerPoint video, which I hope to have around in the next sort of week or two, about more specific ways I can help. But obviously, I can have the conversation with people. I don't expect people to look and say, "Great, right, sign me up." It is very much about then talking to you and finding out what you need for your organisation and so on. But these are some of the areas that might be effective consulting on word-based communications, and we do have a lot of words. We do a lot of video and visuals, and that's the way, increasingly the way people like to work. But there's still a lot of words. So look at websites, for example. Is it user friendly? Is it dyslexic friendly? Is there too many words? Is it the right balance? Do you have pictures to go with the words? Is the font the right colour, etc.? Not going to give it all away now, because then you won't need to talk to me. But anyway, no, I just give you sort of the outline of it. Blogs, another area of marketing materials, emails, daily, isn't it? I'm very conscious when I'm emailing somebody, not to give them just a load of text without paragraph spacing, or I always space things out, shorter paragraphs than maybe other people would do. Because actually most of us skim read our emails, don't we? You don't have to be dyslexic, but actually if you have short points, you can skim through it, then you get the point. The number of people, probably both of you find this, you send an email to somebody with like 3 different points, and somebody answers the first one, and they don't ignore the other 2, don't they? It's like people seem programmed to do that. So you see, they may not be dyslexic, but actually, if you work in a dyslexic-friendly way, you actually get more out of them, and they'll get more out of you. So, if you do online shopping, that's another area. Again, it's about access to goods and services. So it's not dyslexic-friendly. If someone's dyslexic, they come out and they don't get it, or they just don't for no reason, they might go and buy somewhere else, so you've lost your business. Instruction manuals is another possible area that people produce. Again, that can be very confusing for people. And question mark, there may well be other areas too. So there's all kinds of, any way that we use words within business potentially needs to be looked at, just to review, say, is it really as dyslexic friendly as it could be? Okay, next please, Vivek. So another area then, so offering coaching and training for the dyslexic workforce. I mean, any of these can be done independently. So, say there's an organisation where people know, or somebody said, hey, I'm dyslexic, I need some help. And the organisation is pretty clued up, but actually they just want individual help for their employee or for the team. Or it could be an ongoing process, so they've had the assessment, they've done the assessment, they've had a bit of consultancy. If actually, Josephine or Joe, they really need some extra support just to help them, and it's a legal requirement, but they can be really good in their job. For example, like Richard Branson, really good at what he does, but there's certain things he has help with, and he's an example, isn't he? Though he's obviously up in the stratosphere in terms of success and physios. So these are some of the areas that we can offer coaching and training for. Starting bottom left, I'm going to go around. So English for business, all kinds of things, reading and spelling and punctuation and grammar, all that kind of stuff. Mind mapping, again, any of these I could spend the next half hour talking about. Again, do look at my website if you want to know more information. But mind mapping is so important for everybody, but very helpful for dyslexics. Apps on mobile devices are coming about, aren't they? And they really help. Several people talked about Evernote recently, and then there's Dragon Dictation, and there's all sorts of things which are multi-sensory and work. And obviously, if you have Vivek to integrate your devices, these things work really well, as I found. So I work on my iPad, and it links with my laptop, etc. Dyslexic-friendly use of IT, again, specific software, simple things, changing colour backgrounds, etc. There's just so much, obviously, just little things that could be done that could just make all the difference. And also coaching, short-term and long-term coaching, which again people can do over the internet as well. Skype, Google Hangouts, could be personal coaching. And often people with dyslexia, they're very gifted and very able, but if they haven't actually grown up with success in mind or been encouraged, then they do have areas of self-esteem. And so, yes, obviously you can help someone with their IT skills and their English and their spelling, etc. But their self-belief is still challenged, and they might need a bit of work with that. And again, I have testimonials about that, and it's effective and it's fun, and it's just fantastic to see how people grow and thrive and just become who they really are. So next, please. Okay. just very quickly, because I'm just conscious of time, but a way that I put together all that I do, because there's a variety of ways that I do offer help and support, as you can see, is the Dancing Kites Creative Learning System. So I'll just very quickly run through this for now, but more information on my website. So identify what your current thinking is in any of the areas that I've already talked about. So I won't repeat that. Design a learning program for you, which could include assessments as well as proper training and coaching and consultancy. This will help you create new thought processes through your creative learning, adapted to your particular learning styles. And this will transform you and your business and your relationships, maybe your community, and will inspire you and those around you. And having that inspiration is great, because you can then tackle new things or inspire other people around to tackle what they need to tackle as well. So it is a 5-step process, and it's just lovely to see the results. Next, please. Okay, finished. So if you want to know a bit more about dyslexia at work, for more information, feel free to visit my website, www.dancingkites.co.uk, or you can email me at corinna@dancingkites.co.uk. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and Google Plus and all these other things. So, I'm happy to, to people to drop me a line and then to have a conversation and to chat through things. Okay, that's the end of that presentation. Thank you, Vivek. If you could finish it off. You coming back? So I think that's bringing us to the end of the time. There's so much we could all talk about more, which is lovely, isn't it? And so I hope it's been of real interest to the people who are viewing. And I'm sure, Vivek, you'll do your description with the timestamps that you do, don't you? So that people can skim through the particular parts of the conversation that they want to look at, that they can do that. So that's always really helpful.
But we didn't give David his trick or treat for today.
Does David got a trick or treat?
Yes, he was talking about a pledge.
Okay, fine, David. Sorry, I didn't realise you'd planned one. I don't think Scott has one. If you'd like one, then you're very welcome to contribute.
No, it wasn't a personal pledge. It was a pledge I was going to read. It's called the Entrepreneur's Pledge, and actually, it'll take a few minutes. I'm gonna read this pledge on. Go
on, read it.
Read it, okay.
Yeah. Lovely. No, it'd be really, really good if you could.
I should say that it comes from the Kauffman Foundation, Kauffman, and they are the foundation for entrepreneurship. They're in Kansas City, in the United States. It's a multi-billion-dollar foundation.
Wow.
They start businesses. They do research. They do the most outstanding research on business and in general and entrepreneurship on the entire planet. People wait for their research to come out. Well, anyway, one of the things they did was they created this Entrepreneur's Pledge, which I took 3 years ago, as a matter of fact. And it describes what I do precisely, what I do, why I do it. So
brilliant.
I'll read it for you.
Thank you.
The Entrepreneur's Pledge. I am an entrepreneur. I am following a dream, pursuing an opportunity, taking charge of my destiny. I am bringing something of value to society, making a job for myself and for others, and creating wealth that benefits my family, my community, my country, my world. I am one of a movement of millions of entrepreneurs and innovators who made America great and who keep our economy going and growing. I am what I am because many people have helped me along this journey. Therefore, and here's the pledge part, I will tell my story, sharing my successes and failures, so that others taking the entrepreneurial path can learn. I will strive to mentor an aspiring entrepreneur, Actually, I put an S on that because I'm doing entrepreneurs,
Yes.
aspiring entrepreneurs. I will make my voice heard by those who make policy decisions that affect me and my business. I will appreciate and celebrate my accomplishments and the accomplishments of all my fellow entrepreneurs. I will give back to the society that helped me to be successful. I will build a stronger America. Of course, if you're reading this in the UK, you would say, "I would build a stronger UK." But isn't that a wonderful?
It's wonderful. Yeah.
And it describes what I do, why I do it better than I could ever.
Describes me too. I'd love a copy of the words, actually. Yeah.
I will make those. I'll put them in your stream, so folks can go back to the stream and take. Actually, they took the site down. I think that actually had the pledge there, and there was a counter. Every time somebody new took it, it increased the number, and I was in the first 3,000 people that took it, and I don't know what that number is, but I'll make it available to you. Lovely. Actually, to this point of mentoring and talking about it, I'm going to be doing an HOA on Sunday with a young lady, and I've been spending a lot of time recently talking to the what I call the new breed of entrepreneurs, folks who are in their 20s. Actually, 19. Vivek was part of a hangout that I did with a 19-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A very unusual 19-year-old. And people in their I did one yesterday was an individual in their 20s, 30s, 40s, folks who are the future of entrepreneurship. Because I believe there's a new spirit. There's a new dynamic coming into play, and I'm very curious. I want folks to know about that. Because that really is the future of entrepreneurship in this country. Thank you.
Well, that's really interesting for me as well, because I've got two sons, and one has just turned 20, and he's at university doing music at the moment. He's dyslexic, and my other one is nearly 23 and about to finish university and has got various ideas. So yeah, it'd be lovely to know more about this and might help them in some shape or form. So. Yeah, lots to carry on talking about at some point, I think, David. So, but thank you again for joining us. It's been lovely to meet you and to have the chat.
Certainly my pleasure, and thank you very much.
And thank you for spending the time with us. So that's been lovely.
No, I'll do it anytime. Anytime that I have the time to do it, I would be more than happy. To do it.
I'd love to carry on talk about all sorts of things. So, and then thank you. And then we do our official goodbye, don't we? So our two Ronnie's bits. So goodbye for me. Goodbye
Are you going to sing? Are you going to sing the official goodbye?
Not yet. Not yet. Maybe in another week or so.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll just say goodbye from myself. I'm Corinna Shepherd from Dancing Kites Creative Learning, unlocking your potential through creativity and interactive learning. Vivek?
Let's give it to David, and I'll sign off in the end.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm Small Biz David, and if you put it in quotation marks, Small Biz David, all one word, it'll take you to a Google search, and you'll find anything you need to know about me there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last but not least?
It's Vivek signing off today. And remember, integrated, we live. Thank you.
Thank you.